Good morning and welcome back to Joni Come Lately. Video 9, here we go. Okay, so this week's theme is loyalty. Merriam-Webster defines loyalty as steadfast, intentional commitment to stand by someone or something even when it is difficult. Think about that for a moment, even when it is difficult. I'm sure each one of you is loyal to a person, a place, a cause, something you feel passionately and authentically, about. For some of you, it may be your spouse, your child, a family friend, or, another family member, your job, or political cause. Or maybe it's a little bit simpler than that. Maybe you're just a huge fan of Journey, the 80s band. I know I am. Just ask my son, who had to endure one Journey song after another on his way to school every single morning. And he was not thrilled about that. But Don't Stop Believing hits differently at 7 a.m. Or maybe it's a particular author whose new book has just dropped and you're speeding your way to the bookstore to purchase it. Whatever it looks like, loyalty looks different for everyone. And today I want to talk about what it looks like for me. For me, loyalty is about the 61 people who said, or at least thought to themselves, I'm giving my time, in some cases, my paid subscription to Joni. Even though her book is not ready for me to purchase yet, I'm going to show up for her because I know her as a person, because I know she's authentic, and that's enough for now. That is what loyalty looks like before you have anything to offer in return. And it is the most humbling kind. But here's what's happened since those early days. I've created 8 videos, 8 newsletters, a couple of notes, a puzzle piece contest, which is still unfolding, and I've given my new community something finally to grab onto, something to sink their teeth in. I put some meat on the bones or whatever, started as pretty much just me asking you to trust me. And here's what I find remarkable. My subscriber count has not dropped. It has continued to go up, which tells me something I did not fully expect. That somewhere along the way, without even realizing, you became loyal to the content, not just to me, to the journey itself. And that to me is the most wonderful, wonderful definition of loyalty. But let me tell you about the most unexpected loyalty I have experienced in my lifetime. Back in 2016, I was job searching. I was 8 months in without having a job. And I did something that was completely out of character for me. I remember it clearly. It was a day where, it was midnight. It was morning already the next day. And I'd been stressing. I'd been stressing for 8 months. And that early morning was no different. I got on LinkedIn and I reached out to a complete stranger, a CEO of her own government contracting company. Now, I knew a woman who I used to work with who had been hired by this company. And so I had an acquaintance that worked there. But I have to tell you, the CEO, she didn't know me from Adam. She had never heard of my name. We had never spoken. She would have to rely entirely on my acquaintance word about who I was and what my worth was. And you know what? I sent it off anyway. I asked her for a job. I asked her if she had a job. And she did not ignore me. She responded immediately. She said she would reach out to my acquaintance and get back to me. Within a week, one of her lead managers actually reached out to me, and I was interviewed, and I was hired. This particular woman, has built her company on many mission statements, but one is, and it's stated still there today on her website, she believes in the power and contribution of women. And she has remained loyal to this day to that belief that changed my life. She showed up for me once as a complete stranger. And then recently, when I reached out to her about what I was doing here on my self-publishing journey, she reached out this time to me as a friend. And she signed up as a subscriber. But she didn't just sign up. She sent my text to her to 2 other people that work there, and they also signed up and subscribed. That is loyalty in its greatest and most unexpected form. And it is the reason I believe, with everything I have, that showing up authentically and consistently for the people in your community will always, always find its way back to you. My protagonist returns to Earth loyal to everything he left behind, his memories, his past life, the people he loved. Those loyalties are real and deep for him, but they have to be put on a shelf immediately, because holding on to them too tightly in his new life would put everything at risk. So he has to start over. Build a new loyal base with people who have no idea who he is and where he truly came from. And as a 16-year-old, he cannot help but compare. Are these new people as loyal as the ones I left behind? Will they show up for me in the way that he felt he deserved? But here's what slowly he begins to understand. While he is busy measuring everyone else against his past, the people around him are quietly measuring him, not by who he was, but by who he is now today. And there are others also that are measuring him by the promise he made as to who he would become once he was back on Earth. So here's my question for you this week. Who or what are you most loyal to right now? And has that loyalty ever surprised you? Has someone shown up for you when you least expected it? Or have you shown up for someone else in a way that changed everything? Tell me in the comments, because your story, as I've always said, matters just as much as mine. Before I go, a reminder that puzzle piece 2 dropped and is out there waiting for you to answer in case you have not responded yet to it. Head over either to JoniComeLately _author on Instagram or Joni Ray Books on TikTok, or find it in my Substack notes. I want to know, how does that image fit into the storyline of the secondaries? Tell me in the comments and get in the running to win a personally signed first copy. And mark your calendars. Puzzle piece 3 drops this Wednesday on July 29th on Instagram, TikTok, and Substack notes. Another clue, another piece of the world of the secondaries. You do not want to miss it. Newsletter 9 drops Wednesday as well on July 29th. So link is in my bio. So, I'm Joni Ray. My book is called The Secondaries, and we're just getting started. See you on Wednesday.